Okay, so this is the distributive property notes. So this is on Tuesday, September 29th. Coach Elkins didn't go through all of the notes in class, but I'm going to go over a couple of them just so we can see them. And then I think he went over, I thought he went over number 2 in class, so we'll do that too. So with the distributive property, anytime we have a number outside of a parentheses, when we're following PEMDAS, we have to do what's in the parentheses first. However, if we have something that's on the outside, we want to combine it. And the way we combine it is by multiplying what's on the outside by what's on the inside. So when we do this first one, we would say 3 times 2a, which would be 6a, and then 3 times negative 6. That's, a lot of people have messed up on that. It's 3 times negative 6, so that's going to be negative 18, so we would have to put minus 18. And then on the other side, 4 times 3a is 12a. That's another important thing. You want to make sure that you keep your variables. And then 4 times 6 would be a positive 24. So then we're just going to go through and solve like we've been solving for the past week. And I always box mine in with the sign that comes right before it. Okay, and we want to move a plain number first. So I'm going to move the negative 18 because it's negative and I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to add 18. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. So 24 plus 18 is 42. And bring down the 12a, positive 42, and then bring down what's left over here, which was just 6a. Okay, now so my second step, this 6a over here is off limits because it's by itself. The 42 is off limits because it doesn't have an a. We need something that's going to match this. So the only thing I can move is this 12a. So it's positive in the problem, so that means I'm going to subtract it. Minus 12a, and 6 minus 12 is negative 6. And I'm going to have to rewrite that over here. Negative 6a equals, the only thing left over here is 42. So then I'm going to take 42 and divide it by negative 6. Divide by negative 6, and we get negative 7. So a equals negative 7. I'm going to look at number 6 on these notes. I think this is one that they worked on in class. So again, I've got my number on the outside of the parentheses, so I've got to multiply to simplify this. So negative 8 times negative 5 is a positive 40. Okay, then negative 8 times negative 1. If it helps you to box that whole thing in, then you can surely do that. So negative 8 times negative 1, v, is positive 8v. So then on the other side, I've got negative 3 times 10, that's negative 30. Negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6, and that had a variable, so I'm going to put the v. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to box, box, box. Okay, I want to move one of my numbers first, my plain numbers without the variable. So I'm going to move this negative 30, and I'm going to move it by adding it. So plus 30, and that gives me 70. Bring down everything else, the whole box, and then bring this whole thing down. So negative 6v. Okay, now I can only move one thing, and it can't be this because it has to match over here. I can't move this because it's by itself. So I can only move this 8v. So since it was plus 8v, I'm going to subtract. So negative 6 minus 8. Make sure you do the negatives in the calculator right. And it's negative 14. And I'm out of room. I'm going to write it over to the side. So on one side, I get negative 14v. And on my left side, the only thing that was left was 70. So the last step, since this is multiplication, I'm going to do the opposite and divide. so 70 divided by negative 14 is negative 5. Okay, so that's the notes, just kind of slowing it down a little bit. I just did 1 and 6. So then on the worksheet, the equations with distributive property, I want to say, actually I think it was number 6 that they did together. I might do number 6 and number 2. For some reason number 2 is sticking out to me. Okay, so on number 6, they just give us x. So we can automatically know that there's an imaginary 1 in front of that one, and this one we're going to simplify. So let's see what we get when we do that. So I'm going to rewrite this part. So 1x minus 8 equals, now I've got to simplify this by multiplying the negative 1, since it's on the outside, by everything that's on the inside. So negative 1 times 1x is just negative 1x, and then negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Okay, so now I'm boxing everything in with the sign that's coming right in front of those numbers. And I'm going to move one of my regular numbers first. I'm going to move this negative 8, so then we should end up with a positive over here. So plus 8 to cancel it out, plus 8 with the other regular number. So negative 4 plus 8 is positive 4. And then I'm going to bring everything else down. So since that was positive 4, I'm going to put the plus sign. Bring the negative 1x down, bring the equal sign down, and bring the 1x down over here. And I'm going to rewrite it. I'm out of room already. 1x equals negative 1x plus 4. Okay, so there's only one thing that I can move, and that's going to be this negative 1x. So I'm going to do the opposite to move it. Plus 1x, so that cancels. Plus 1x. 1 plus 1 is 2. And the only thing left over here is 4. So since this is multiplying 2 times x, I'm going to do the opposite and divide. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that one's not so bad. I think people get confused because of the x. And okay, so number 2. This is another one they went over. Okay, so that's weird. There's only a 12 over here. We're going to multiply, we're going to simplify this down, and we're going to multiply negative 4 times everything. And I'm going to write it out to the side. I think that's where my problem is. Okay, so 12 equals, so negative 4 times negative 1.5 is positive 6. And if you want to put a little positive sign, you can. And that had a variable on it, so I need to make sure I bring that with it. Okay, and then negative 4 times negative 12. There's a negative sign in front of that, so I need to take that into consideration. So negative 4 times negative 12 is positive 48. So now it's really just a two-step equation. It's not even a multi-step. But I'm going to go ahead and box everything in so it's a little bit easier to see. And there's only one thing I can move. Since there's not an x over here, I can't move this guy, and I can't move him because he's all by himself. We don't want to get rid of him. He's by himself. We want to join him. So we're going to move this guy over by the 12 so he's not alone anymore. Okay, so 12 minus 48 is negative 36. We're going to bring 6x down. This is multiplication, so that means I have to do the opposite, and I have to divide. So negative 36 divided by 6 is negative 6. I think that's the most complicated one on there. But I may go ahead and just break down these. So if we multiply negative 8, this is on number 3, negative 8 times negative 6, we get a positive 48. Then negative 8 times positive 2 is negative or minus 16n. A lot of people have missed that today, and I'm not real sure why. Same thing on number 4. A lot of people have gotten confused, and I think it's because they're not seeing the negative or the minus in front of that 7. So 5n plus 34 all stays the same, but negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, and then negative 2 times negative 7 is a positive 14, and it had an n on it, so we have to include that. And then down here, 18a minus 22 stays the same. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 6. Negative 4 times negative 6 is actually going to be a positive 24a. And this one down here, 5p minus 70. So negative 1 times p, or 1p if that helps. You can put a little 1 in front of it. That's going to be negative 1p. Negative 1 times negative 8. Negative 1, negative and a negative. And I'm doing this in my head. Please use your calculator. If you have the calculator or if you have the app, use it. Sometimes I use it for 2 plus 2, but right now I'm doing my head, but you, if you're working at home, use the calculator or a website. Okay, I think those are the distributive ones. Those are broken down. There's a couple more over here, but these are a little bit easier. Those are all positives. That's not too bad. This has positives on the inside, so that helps. So negative 2 times 3, negative 2 times 6. Okay, there are 15 problems. First page is kind of simplified for you.